Today's video, I'm going to show you how to make these interlocking rings lace pattern. It looks very intricate, but once you get the pattern down, it's not too bad. It actually reminds me of the wedding ring pattern of a quilt. I am personally using this particular pattern with a size 10 crochet thread, as you can see with this red example right here. In an art piece that I'm working on, I'm using it as some background, and it's working out beautifully. Now, this size right here is kind of interesting. This is a size 3, basically the fashion crochet thread that you see at most your hobby stores. Personally, I see this size thread with this application as making a really nice open work placemat, or if you cut it down to just a single circle in a square, that can make an awesome kind of matching coaster for your placemat. Also, this particular design works great if you use like a fingering weight wool. It would make a great like pattern in an open work sweater. There's lots of wonderful applications that you can make with this particular style of lace work. Welcome to Weaving Weird Studio and my creative weird life. My name is Sig, and what a pleasure it is to have you with me at this time today. It's your interest and support that allows me to contribute new content and weekly videos. Help us all grow together by tapping the subscribe bar, notification bell, and like buttons. I look forward to your comments and always value your feedback. Now let's get started. So as I mentioned before, this piece right here is made with Aunt Lydia's size 3 or fashion size crochet thread. It's a little thicker than the standard crochet thread that you might use. And this is a copper color. Copper mist is what they call it. And for this particular size thread, I am using a size 4 hook or 2.5 millimeter. This particular hook actually lands somewhere between a B and a C if you're using American or US measurements for your hook size. Now, this example right here is the size 10 crochet thread. And this is about the size that you're looking at for almost the same swatch size. I have a couple of extra rows going on in the size 3 thread swatch size, but you can kind of see the difference between the threads that are used. Let me see, I'll show you right here. And the final size of your piece. And for today's tutorial, I will be showing you with the size 10 thread. For this pattern, we are going to want to work in multiples of 15 plus 1. So for the sake of this particular demonstration, I'm going to work in multiples of 3 15s. So in other words, I'm going to chain 45, and then I'm going to add that plus 1, that additional chain, leaving me with a total of 46 chains. So 1, 2, and 45 plus 1. 46 chains. Next, I'm going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'm going to single crochet in the 13th chain from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And then I'm going to chain 7 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'm going to skip 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I'm going to single crochet in the next chain. I'm going to chain 7 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then I'm going to skip the next 3 chains. I'm going to single crochet in the chain after that. Again, I'm going to chain 7, 5, 6, 7. And then I'm going to skip the next 5 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to single crochet in the stitch after that. So basically I'm going to repeat those last 2 steps. In that, I'm going to chain 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then I'm going to skip 3 and then single crochet in the chain after that. And then next I'm going to chain 7 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And with this one, I'm going to skip 5 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I'm going to repeat. Chain 7, skip 3, and then chain 7 and skip 5. I'm going to continue doing that for the length of my piece. Okay, so for this particular swatch, this particular example piece that I'm doing, I will have ended with 9 7-chain loops for my first row. Next, I'm going to turn. And then for my second row, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's going to be my turning chain. Then I'm going to chain 2 more, 1, 2, and I'm going to single crochet in the first 7-chain loop. Just like so. Next, I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is where I'm going to begin my treble stitches. So I'm going to do 2 trebles together. So I'm going to begin my first treble right here in this next 7-chain loop. And I'm going to leave that first one open. And then when I do my second treble, since it's 2 trebles together, I'm going to then close the 2 of them together, like so. Next, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain 3. And then again, I'm going to do 2 more trebles together in the same 7-chain loop. So the first one, I'm going to leave open so that when I complete my second one, I can close them all together. And then I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to single crochet in the next 7-chain loop. Then I'm going to chain 4. And I'm going to repeat what I did exactly with this second 7-chain loop. I'm going to begin my treble crochets, 2 of them together, leaving the first one open so that I can then go ahead and close it with the second treble crochet. Then I'm going to chain 3. And then I'm going to do 2 more treble crochets together here in this same 7-chain loop. I'm in chain 4. And I'm going to single crochet in the next 7-chain loop. And I'm going to continue this until I come to the end of row 2. Now, as I come to my very last 7-chain loop of row 2, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my chain 4. I'm going to single crochet in that last 7-chain loop. But this time I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain 2. And then I'm going to do a double treble crochet and connect into the +1 stitch of the very first chain row. So 1, 2, and 3. And so I'm going to come here. I'm going to connect right here into this stitch. that plus 1 stitch from the chain stitch row. And then I'm going to make my double treble. I'm going to turn my work. I'm going to chain 1. And that will be the beginning of row 3. Now for row 3, what I want to do is I want to single crochet each stitch, and that will give me a total of 62 single crochets for row 3. So what I mean is, so in this next chain 2 space, I'm going to single crochet 2 single crochets. And then in this next single crochet, I'm going to do a single crochet. And then in this 4 chain, I'm going to do 4 single crochets, so on and so forth. So I'm going to do a single crochet for each stitch, and that will leave me with 62 single crochets for row 3. So once I've completed row 3, this is what my work looks like. So next I'm going to turn my work, and now I'm going to begin row 4. And though for row 4, I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then next, so that's going to be my turning chain. And then next I'm going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So that's a total of 11 chains. And then I'm going to come over here to this single crochet that sits right above my 2 trebles together. And I am going to place 2 trebles together in that same stitch. So you can see it sits right on top of that first pair of trebles together. Then I'm going to chain 3. And I'm going to put 2 trebles together again in that single crochet that tops the next pair of trebles. So again, they're both open, and then I close them together to do my 2 trebles together. And then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And I'm going to come over here, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to place 2 trebles together right here in the single crochet above the next set of trebles. And then, of course, chain 3, and then do it again. My 2 trebles together in the single crochet that sits right above the next set of 2 trebles together. And I'm going to repeat this pattern through the row, or through the length of row 4. Okay, so far for row 4, this is what I have. Now I've come to my last set of 7 chains. Next, I'm going to make a double treble crochet. And I'm going to do it into the very first turning chain back from row 3. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn my work. And then I'm going to chain 1. So now that I've completed row 4, this is what I've got. This is what yours should look like. Next, for row 5, I'm going to place a single crochet in each of the single crochets, just like we did in row 3. But except for row 5, we're going to have 56 single crochets across the length of row 5. Now once I've completed row 5, I have something that looks like this. Now next we're going to move on to row 6. So that means I'm going to turn my work. I'm going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I'm going to begin with my first 2 trebles together. And I'm going to do that by counting over the 4th single crochet from my turning chain. So that puts it right here, dead center of this grouping of single crochets. So right in here, I'm going to put my first set of trebles together. Then I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then I'm going to put my next set of trebles together in that very same stitch. Next I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to do another set of trebles, but this time it gets a little different. So right here, I'm going to take 2 sets of the 2 trebles together, but I'm going to close them all together in one stitch. So what I mean by that is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my first 2 trebles together right here in the single crochet right above the next set of trebles. That's my second one. And normally I would go ahead and close these 2 trebles together, but in this case, I'm not going to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to skip the next 3 single crochets, and then in the single crochet after that, which is going to be the single crochet that sits right above the next set of trebles together, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to begin 2 more trebles together, still leaving it all open. And then when I've completed these 2 sets of trebles together, I'm then going to close it all together in one stitch, just like that. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then again, I'm going to come to the 4th single crochet, or the one that sits right here in the center of this 7 chain stitch that has the 7 single crochets. And I'm going to begin my next 2 trebles together. But because this one is going to be in a V shape, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close those. And I'm going to chain 3. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make 2 more trebles together in that very same stitch. So I think you can kind of see where we're going with this. And I'm going to continue just like that. So again, I'm going to chain 4. And I'm going to make my 2 treble crochets together, but I'm going to leave them open. Right here where you see the 2 trebles kind of stand side by side. And this one's going to be kind of in the shape of an A, sorta. So that's my next set of trebles. So now I have the 2 sets of the 2 trebles together and they're all open. Now I'm going to close it all together to create just the 1 stitch. And then to also give me that kind of A shape. So that's where we're going to start seeing our circles begin to take shape, our rings. So you can already see that ring starting to take shape. I'm going to continue just like that through the length of row 6. And now that I've done my last set of double trebles, For row 6, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a double treble to finish off this row with. Next, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to turn my work, and I'm going to begin row 7. And for row 7, again, we're going to pretty much chain 1, and then just do a single crochet for each stitch for the entire row of row 7. And I'm going to end up with a total of 62 single crochets for the length of this particular swatch in this demonstration. Now that I've completed row 7, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move on to row 8. And for row 8, I'm going to turn my work. I'm going to chain 4. And I'm going to chain 3 more. 1, 2, 3. So that'd be like a total of 7 chains. And then I'm going to place my first set of treble crochets together in this 5th single crochet from the end of this row 7. And so that's basically going to place me right here on top of the second set of treble crochets together. And that's where I'm going to put my first set of treble crochets together for row 8. Then I'm going to chain 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then I'm going to come over here to this set of trebles. And this is where I'm going to begin my next set of trebles. So I'm basically going to skip over the part of this where your treble looks kind of like an A. And I'm going to jump right over here to this V-shaped treble cluster. And so in the first leg of the V shape, the single crochet right above it, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place my next 2 trebles together. I'm going to chain 3. I'm going to skip 3. And then I'm going to put my next set of 2 treble crochets together. And then I'm going to chain 7. Then I'm going to skip 9 single crochets, which is going to bring me over here to the next, right above this next set of trebles. And I'm going to do 2 treble crochets together. And chain 3. Skip 3. And then do my next set of trebles together. I'm going to chain 7. I'm going to skip 9, and I'm going to begin doing my next set of treble crochets together. And we're going to continue that pattern for the length of row 8. So now when I come to the end of my row 8, and I'm back here and I'm looking at my last chain 7, and I'm going to skip my 9 single crochets, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my 2 trebles together. So then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain 3. And instead of doing another set of the treble crochets together, I'm going to simply do 1 treble crochet right here into the turning chain of the previous row. And that's the completion of row 8. So to start row 9, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to turn my work, I'm going to chain 1. And row 9 is again single crochets in each stitch all the way across. And for this particular swatch, I'm going to end up with 54 single crochets all the way across. Now that I've completed row 9, I'm going to move on to row 10. I'm going to do that by turning my work. I'm going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this time I'm going to make my 2 sets of double crochets together first off. So what I mean by that is I'm going to begin my 2 trebles together. But I'm going to leave them open because I'm going to come over here. I'm going to skip the next 3 single crochets, which is going to land me right here above this next set of trebles together. And I'm going to begin my next set of 2 trebles together for row 10. So now I have 4 trebles. These 2 will be together and these 2 will be together and they're open, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close them all together into the 1 stitch. Just like that. Just like what you did back here in row 8, but it's in a slightly different position. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to skip 3 single crochets, and I'm going to begin my next 2 trebles together. I'm going to chain 3. And then I'm going to crochet another set of 2 trebles together right here in that same stitch. And then I'm going to chain 4. I'm going to skip 3 single crochets, and I'm going to begin my next set of trebles. They'll eventually be together, but I'm going to leave these 2 open for the moment. I'm going to skip the next 3 single crochets, which is going to land me right here above the last set of double trebles together. I'm going to just continue to make myself 2 more trebles, leaving them open. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to close all 4 trebles together. I'm going to chain 4. I'm going to skip 3 single crochets, and in that 4th single crochet, I'm going to make my first set of 2 trebles together. I'm going to chain 3. And then I'm going to make my next set of 2 trebles together right here in that very same stitch. And close those. I'm going to chain 4. I'm going to skip 3 single crochets, and I'm going to begin my next set of 2 trebles together. But this time I'm going to leave them open because I want to do one more set of double treble crochets together after I skip the next 3 single crochets. And take the 2 sets of double treble crochets together, and I'm going to close them all into 1 stitch. I'm going to continue repeating that until I get to the end of row 10. So now that I've come to my last chain 4, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my 2 trebles together started. And this is where I'm going to leave them open. I'm going to skip the next 3 single crochets. And in that last single crochet, I'm going to begin my next 2 trebles together. So now I have the 4 trebles are all open. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to close them all together to make 1 stitch. Then I'm going to make a chain. And then I'm going to make a treble crochet, and I'm going to put it right into that turning chain of the last row. So this is what my first 10 rows look like so far. Now for row 11, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn my work. I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to single crochet each single crochet across the length of this row, and that will leave me with a total count of 60 crochets. So now that I've completed row 11, my work is really starting to take shape. Now from here, all I need to do is continue to repeat rows 4 through 11 to my desired height. So now this is the size of the swatch completed as I described and gave instructions on how I made it during this video. However, with a couple of extra rows added onto the instructions that I gave you, you could be looking at something closer to this. So you see the ring. And I'm sure while you worked on this piece or watched this video, you came up with all sorts of great ways that you could utilize this particular pattern. But now's the time for me to say goodbye. So until I see all you wonderful and creative fiber artists again, stay crafty, stay amazing, and above all, keep weaving your weird. Bye-bye now.